Hi everyone, I'm Melody with Quilting, and today I am so excited to introduce to you the brand new all-in-one Quilter's Workbook. This is a free printable guide we designed to support you, whether quilting is a hobby for you or a growing business. When I created the all-in-one Quilter's Workbook, I wanted it to be something that can meet you where you are, no matter what stage of quilting you're at. There are pages for reflecting on your goals, coming up with new quilt ideas, and even some tips and tricks on running a business, so we will get into all of that today. I wanted this workbook to be kind of like a friend, something that you can have with you throughout your entire quilting journey. You can print out the book, fill it out at your own pace, and whenever you fill it up, you can go ahead and print out your favorite pages and use them all over again. It's meant to be a practical and useful tool, but also something that's going to be there to inspire you every day. There's even creative exercises included to build your own quilting legacy, which can be so rewarding if you're looking to make your own mark on the quilting world. You can find the download instructions in the description of this video, or you can just go right to quilting.com to get your workbook. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the most of your copies, so grab a cozy spot, maybe a cup of tea. I have my little coffee here, and let's get started. The first thing you'll want to do once you print out your copy of the all-in-one Quilter's Workbook is make it your own. So there's a spot right here to write your name on the cover. I'm just going to go ahead and write my name in. And remember, this copy is all yours, so you can doodle in it, you can paste images, you can do whatever makes it feel just like your own. If you have your own quilting company, you can also write the name of that on here. Now let's open up the workbook and see what's inside. So the first chapter of the workbook is going to be all about embracing your own personal quilting journey. And this is going to be a great section no matter if you're a hobby quilter or if you're running your own business. Every quilter has their own personal story and achievements and things that they've done that they're proud of. And no matter where you are in your quilting journey, this is going to be a great spot to just stop and reconnect with yourself and kind of say thank you and pat yourself on the back for all the hard work you've done. There's going to be a lot of different fun prompts in this section, and I think it's worth mentioning that you don't have to fill out the workbook in order. And maybe if you ever feel a bit down about your craft, or you want a chance to reconnect with yourself, or maybe you're away from home and you can't be at your quilting machine right now, this is going to be a spot where you can come in and reconnect with your craft without even actually quilting. Personally, my favorite prompt in this section is going to be this one right here. List 3 accomplishments you're proud of in your quilting journey. Think about the quilts you've made, new techniques you've tried, or even personal achievements like building your quilting space. I think this prompt is so important because, as I said earlier, every quilter's journey is so unique, and it's so important to be able to look back and say, hey, wow, look how far I've come. But my absolute favorite part of section 1 is going to be the vision board. This page is going to be where you can really start to have fun. You can make your own personal vision board on this page and customize it however you want. I personally recommend going on Pinterest to find some pictures for this. As an example, maybe you've always wanted a dedicated quilting studio, but you're not quite there yet. You can find a picture of one you love online and keep that there for inspiration. All you have to do is print it out and then paste it in. You can also use a cute tape that you find at the craft store if you want to personalize it a little bit more. Or maybe there's a style of quilting that you've always wanted to try. You can find pictures of quilts that you'd like to recreate online and put those in there for inspiration too. Personally, my absolute favorite color is pink, so I would love to try making a pink quilt like this one someday. Keeping with that pink theme, I'm going to add a picture of some different pink threads. Maybe if there's supplies you've always wanted to try, you can put pictures of those in here too. It also doesn't have to be literal. If you've just always wanted to be stocked up on every color of thread or every supply that you can imagine, you could put that in here too. The last example I'm going to use is that I think it would be so fun to start selling quilts online, so I'm going to go ahead and put the Etsy logo on here, which is a place where all kinds of people go to sell different crafts and art supplies. By putting these things in here, every time you open up your workbook, you'll be reminded of all of the things that you want to work towards. And like I said, you can personalize this all you want. You can come in and add little doodles, you can draw different things, do whatever you need to do to make this book feel entirely like yours. Now your vision board is all done, and whenever you're feeling a little bit low on inspiration, you can come back here and take a look at what you've created. Chapter 2 is going to be all about caring for your quilting tools. You have a convenient checklist right here of all of the daily maintenance you need to do on your machine. You can also log all of the maintenance tasks that you complete, and that way you can keep yourself on track. In this chapter, there's also a spot to keep track of all of your favorite tools and products. I know that when you're buying different supplies for your quilting, it can be hard to keep track of all the brands and who you bought it from and what variant was your favorite. So this is where you can come in and really keep track of all of your absolute favorite tools. Chapter 3 is my personal favorite chapter out of the entire workbook. This is where you get to really play around with colors and find your personal style. On this page, you get to build your own personal color palette, and there's a lot of ways that you can go about doing this. If you want, you can just color in all of the swatches with colored pencils or markers or whatever you like using most. Pages like this are also so relaxing if you're feeling drained from a long day, or like I said, if you're away from your quilting machine. Another really fun way to fill out this page is if you want to take different cutouts from magazines, you can actually go and look at the different clothes featured in the magazines and use these as your fabric swatches. And just go ahead and cut out a piece of this and use this for our workbook. Now you have your own custom fabric swatch. All you have to do is just paste it in, and then you're done. And if you have any old magazines laying around your house, this is going to be a really good way to put those to use. If you're like me, one of your favorite parts of quilting is all of the different textures that you can use in your quilts. So you can also use physical textiles if you not only want to feature the color in your palette, but the texture. And same thing here, you can just cut it into a little square and then paste it in. Now, a big part of this page is that it also encourages you to step outside your comfort zone and definitely stay true to what you love, but also try new things. So if you can't tell, I might be going a little bit heavy on the pink here, so I'm going to go ahead and step outside of my comfort zone and say maybe next time I make a quilt, I'll try something with blue too. Now this is kind of reminding me of colors that you might see in a baby quilt. And just like that, now I'm thinking about new ideas. So when I look at this all together, this might not be something that I normally would go for. As I said, I really like pinks, and I'm someone who doesn't like things that are very complex. I like to stick to kind of a monochrome look, but when I see this, I see that all of these colors really could work together. Maybe I could mix different pastels, add polka dots, and do something really fluffy. Again, you can print out this page as many times as you'd like, and you can make different color palettes for different projects. You could say this is what you're going to use for a baby quilt, but maybe you have to make a quilt for a family member for Christmas, and you want to try out a color palette with just their favorite colors. All of the tools in this workbook can be used in plenty of different ways, and you don't have to follow the instructions exactly. If you want to break the rules to make this book more useful for you, feel free. We created this for your enjoyment, so do whatever is the most fun and fulfilling for you. Over on this page is kind of the same idea. You get to talk about what prints you usually like, what textures you love, and maybe even a fabric style you've always wanted to try but haven't really played around with yet. And you don't have to fill this all out at once. Maybe today you just write that you like floral fabrics, but maybe in a few weeks you'll go to a fabric shop and you'll see a striped fabric and you'll absolutely fall in love with it. So you could come back in here and say, you know what, I really like striped fabrics too. I think this next page is going to be very fun for a lot of you. This is going to be a quilt design challenge. After you've filled out all of the exercises in this chapter and maybe you've expanded your horizons a little bit on colors, textures, fabrics that you want to use, you can come in here and use those new ideas to design a whole new quilt. This is when you're really going to want to grab that cup of tea or coffee, maybe put on some of your favorite songs and relax and just really get into it. I'm going to try to make something inspired by the color palette that I filled out earlier. Feeling kind of inspired by the polka dot fabric that I added here, so I'm going to try and incorporate that into this part. It doesn't have to look perfect, mine definitely doesn't, but just by doing this I'm able to see what patterns and colors I think work well together. Now that I've done the dots, I'm wondering what other patterns might work. Now I'm going to see how I feel about doing stripes next to the polka dots, and if I don't like it, it's not a big deal because I can just try again. I think it's a lot better to experiment like this than to actually piece the fabric together and realize a little bit too late that you might not like it too much. I didn't spend much time on mine, so it's definitely not perfect, but now I'm able to see what those colors and patterns that I picked out earlier might look like all together. Now maybe next time I'm shopping for fabrics, I'll take a look for some striped pink ones, or maybe a light yellow one that I wouldn't have grabbed previously. If you do design a quilt on this page, please tag us on social media. The links to our Facebook and Instagram are right here. We would love to see what you come up with. Chapter 4 is going to be an incredible tool for you all, especially those of you that like doing a lot of different projects at once. This chapter is a little less hands-on and it's going to be all about staying organized. We have project management strategies here, and some tips and tricks on making sure you don't get too overwhelmed when you're doing a lot of quilts at once. We also have a spot to log all of your quilt ideas. Earlier I mentioned how sometimes you'll walk into the fabric store and see something you never would have picked out before, but suddenly you fall in love with it and you're like, oh my god, when can I make my next project? But a lot of us already have a lot of quilts going at once, so now you have a spot where you can come in and you can write out all of your ideas. And whenever you do free up some space for more projects, you can come back here and have all of your ideas in one place for some fresh inspiration. After you finish reading some of the tips and tricks in Chapter 4, you're going to come over to Chapter 5, which is where we start to talk about the business of quilting. Now, I know some of you are probably ready to close the book and say, nope, that's not for me. But I really want to encourage you to open it back up, because even if business quilting isn't something you're interested in right now, it can be really fun to just kind of come up with ideas and brainstorm. Remember, quilting for profit doesn't have to be a full-time job. It can just be something that you experiment with and do once in a while. This section of the book is going to be a great place to just take baby steps towards getting started without actually having to dive headfirst into anything. We also have a section right here on setting SMART goals in case you just want to try taking that first step. Some of you might already be running a full-on quilting business, and in that case, this is going to be a great section for you to build up your brand, figure out exactly what you want out of it, and set long-term goals for what you're already doing. In case you haven't heard of SMART goals before, the purpose of them is to make sure that you have an actionable plan and you know exactly what you want to get done. The example goal we put in here is to make your first quilt sale. So, to be specific, you can say you want to sell a quilt to one customer. That's measurable, you know, one customer, one quilt, one sale. You know it's achievable because you do have time to make a quilt. It's a relevant goal to make because this is the first step to kickstarting your business. And you can set a time goal for yourself, like saying, I want to make this first sale by the end of the month. After you've finished with setting your goals, you can come over here and read some tips and tricks on pricing your quilts. We also have a pricing calculator template here that you can use to figure out exactly how much you would need to charge for your own business. Chapter 6 is going to be all about marketing your quilting business. I know marketing can sound really intimidating to a lot of people, but it's really not that bad, and it's a very fun way to make sure people know about your business. First step in marketing your quilting business successfully is going to be building your brand. Like we talked about earlier in this book, it's really important to have your own unique style, not just to establish your quilting legacy, but to make sure people can recognize your work and know it's yours. Maybe the goal of your business is to get people big, cozy quilts that'll bring them joy for years to come at a low, affordable price. So you would want them to feel happy, safe, and comforted when they buy your quilts. Creating your tagline is also going to be a super fun part of this. The example we use is stitching memories into every quilt. Down here you get to identify your target audience. You can figure out who would love your quilts the most, and also what the interests or hobbies of your target audience would be. Over here we have some tips and tricks on starting off with social media. If it's not something you're super familiar with, don't worry, it can be really simple and easy to get started. It's good to plan ahead when you're doing social media though, so here you can figure out how many times you'd like to post a week, what you'd like to post, and how you'll celebrate those milestones or achievements with your audience once you have one. Later on in the chapter, I've also included some of my personal favorite resources for marketing. Notion is something I use every single day here at Quilting. It helps me stay organized and plan out all of our posts, emails, things like that. Canva is a super simple, user-friendly online tool. You can also get the app on your phone if you prefer. You can edit pictures, make different designs, and they also have a full library of templates if you're just getting started. CapCut is a video editor that you can use on the computer or as an app on your phone. It's free, it's beginner-friendly, and it's very fun to play around with. Videos are getting more and more popular on social media now, so if you're interested in trying them out, I would really recommend CapCut for making your content. The final chapter in this book is going to be all about growing your quilting business. This chapter actually isn't hands-on. Instead, you're going to be able to read through and get all kinds of tips, such as how to diversify your income streams and how to build an engaging online presence. This has a lot of different tips for starting a website, as well as tips that you can use for social media. And that is going to bring us to the end of the All-in-One Quilters Workbook. I really hope you're feeling inspired and excited to dive into all of the wonderful content packed inside of this workbook. Remember, this is a tool designed entirely to support you and your unique quilting journey, so take your time with each section, reflect on your experiences, and set goals that resonate with you. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really hope that this workbook is something that you all can use every day in your craft, and we at Quilting are planning on making a lot more things like this, so stay tuned. If you have any questions or need help getting the guide, give me a call at 319-378-0999 and I would be more than happy to help you out. Have a great day and enjoy your workbook. Bye.